Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Lena, and today we're going to figure out about how much you need to purchase your first house. I am not a mortgage broker or a real estate agent, but me and my husband have purchased 2 houses together. First, I'm going to let you know some tips that I have found that helps you decide with your family how much house you can afford. Then we're going to talk about what kind of down payment percentage you might need based off the loans that you might be able to get. And lastly, we're going to do some undercover work on Zillow to figure out what your down payment might end up looking like. How much per month can you afford? This is a huge decision for you and your family, and I think this is the most important part, and this is why I'm talking about it first, because so many other things in your life are going to depend on how much house you buy and what that payment per month is. So they say that you should plan to live in your house for about 5 to 7 years. So envision your life and what might occur in the next 5 years. Of course, these are only guesses because, we will never know exactly what's going to happen to us in the next 5 years. When you're envisioning the next 5 years of your life, consider whether or not you might see children in your future. If you're calculating how much house you can afford based off 2 full-time incomes, things could get a little sticky if later down the road you had kids and you decided that one parent needed to stay home, because then you would have that loss of that income. So I'm thinking, could we afford this house on one income? And I see this tragically play out in people's lives where they based how much house they could afford on the 2 incomes, and then they have kids, and then someone really wants to stay home with the kids, but they can't because their house payment is too big, so they don't get to realize the dream of staying home with their children because they bought too much house. To me, that is a super tragic thing that can happen to you, is not being able to be with your children if you want to. So be thinking about that when you're considering how much you can afford a month. While you're calculating how much you can afford a month, also consider what it costs to be a homeowner. This is kind of the exciting, scary part. So monthly maintenance, what are you prepared to do? So a lot of these costs are often hidden when you're a renter because you aren't replacing the appliances yourself, you're not replacing the lights or the doorknobs, or when something goes wrong, it's not coming directly out of your pocket. Or when property taxes go up, that is something to consider, is unexpected expenses and property tax hikes. So our microwave broke. I know that some don't think a microwave is a necessity, but for us, we use it a lot and it's totally worth it to have it. It's one of those microwaves that has the range and the microwave, so it's this huge contraption, not the kind that sits on the counter. So we went to the store and we bought the cheapest microwave we could, and it was just under $300. And if you're not expecting that and you're not thinking about that when you're planning for owning a house, that could be a nasty surprise. Other appliances that have stopped working for us was the dishwasher. And I know that the dishwasher is also not essential for staying alive, but we did want to replace a dishwasher. And you can replace a dishwasher for under $400 if you get the cheap kind, but they don't have a food grinder, so they get all nasty inside, and that was just gross. So we got a dishwasher and it was approximately $700. So this is part of the cost of being a homeowner, that you are responsible, fiscally responsible for doing the maintenance. So if you're thinking about buying a house, be thinking ahead and be thinking about what costs are hidden when you're renting to what costs that you are going to have to shell out for if you own the house yourself. Of course, this also goes the fun way too. I get to decide what colors to paint the walls, and I get to decide that I want to put wallpaper up, and I get to decide that I want to replace the countertops. But also remember, the ability to decide those things can also cost you money, because paint is not free, trim is not free. If you decide to replace the carpet, that's really not free. So also think about that, because believe me, you'll probably want to change your house. And when you're not renting, you totally can, but it costs money to change your house. So even if your mortgage payment is the same as what your rental payment was, you're going to have these extra costs of maintenance and renovations to consider. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about loans and what kind of loan you might end up getting. I am not a loan officer, but as I said before, I have gotten a few loans. Actually, technically we've gotten 3 loans because we refinanced our first house. If it's your first house ever, you may qualify for an FHA loan, which is a first-time home buyer's loan. And this percentage, unless things change of course, this is just current as of now, is 3.5%. So you'd have to pay a 3.5% down payment to acquire the property. The FHA loan does come with some more guidelines than a conventional loan, like you can't take the PMI, which is the private mortgage insurance, which can be like $150 a month off when you reach the 20% equity position. You would have to refinance your whole loan to get that off your FHA loan, which is kind of a drag. And the FHA loan also has more restrictions on what kind of properties you can buy and what kind of condition the properties have to be in. And this is a double-edged sword because this means the loan is in a way protecting you from unwanted repair costs or unexpected big expenses, which is cool. But at the same time, if you know that you can replace the floor in the bathroom yourself or something, but the FHA won't allow you to get the house, then you have no house. Another kind of loan you might get is a conventional loan, and I'm talking about 30-year fixed rate mortgages right now. A conventional loan is approximately 5% down, and we actually ended up going conventional for both of our loans because of the less rules that there were. So I'm planning, if I'm I could get an FHA, I'm planning for 3.5%. If I think I'm just going to go for conventional, I'm thinking 5% down. And in that conventional loan, when you reach the point of 20% equity, either by paying off your loan or getting it assessed again because the property value went up, then you could get to an equity position of 20%. You can take the PMI off, save you over $100 a month on your payment, which would be awesome. Let's talk closing costs for a moment. According to NerdWallet, on a $300,000 house, the closing costs will range from $6,000 to $15,000. And that can seem a little daunting, but remember that sometimes part of your offer includes that the seller will pay part of the closing costs or all of the closing costs, but at least for us, they haven't agreed to 100% paying for all the closing costs. So for us, we've gotten the buyer to pay approximately half of our closing costs on each of our houses. But because this year there aren't very many houses on the market, this makes it a seller's market. So they're probably getting a lot of offers. I don't know if they would want to pay for some of those closing costs. So that's just something to see and something to think about when you're figuring out how much you want to save. Okay, now it's time to do a little investigation to try to figure out what 3.5% or 5% would look like on an actual house. So the first thing you need to tell yourself is that none of the houses that you're looking at right now are going to be the final house that you actually get. As you can see, I am on Zillow. And I know there's other places to look at this, but this is what I'm most familiar with. And I looked up Vermont. So I put in that our budget is $100,000 to $300,000. And this is just a starting place for us to see kind of what your monthly cost would be, because it's all about that monthly. The thing you did first is what would the monthly cost of owning that home be? So here's a good one. Okay, it says it's $269,000. It's got 3 bedrooms. It's got 3 bathrooms. And now that is handy. Okay, I'm just checking out, is this what we need? And of course, this is totally individual to you because I don't know your family. I don't know your circumstances. It was built in 1994. So probably no asbestos or popcorn ceilings, which is handy because then you don't have to take them off. Okay, I'm getting distracted. So what we're really here about, so here's the really interesting part here. Okay, estimated monthly costs. This amount looks really nice right now, but we have to see what kind of percentage of down payment they're looking at. Okay, they put in a 20% down payment. Yeah, maybe not. Okay, so 5% down payment. So let's go back up here, because this just changed the estimated monthly cost to $1,685, and that would be a down payment of $13,450. And this is in a 30-year fixed, because they have different loan options here. So they've got the 15-year fixed, which would take up your monthly costs quite a bit. And then they have an ARM, which is a scary thing. Okay, so let's just glance at the 15-year fix for a second. Then your monthly cost would be $2,300. And I'm guessing, unless you guys are making a ton of money, that's going to be a bit much. And I know you pay off your 15-year mortgage earlier and you pay less interest overall, but for me, it's all about lowering my monthly costs and keeping those manageable. So let's go back to the 30-year fixed mortgage. Let's try, say we got a first-time home buyers with the 3.5% down. Then we're looking at $1,752 a month. You're going back to that number about what you decided with your family, what you could afford each month, and you're looking at that and thinking, okay, if I get the FHA and I only pay the $9,000 for my down payment, that is gonna be too much of a monthly payment for us. So we need to tweak this somehow. So your options are try to go to a conventional loan and do the 5%. If you do that, that could lower your monthly costs. Not that much though, because that's not that much less a month. Or you can pick a less expensive house. And you can play with that right here, or you can find an actual example. I also wanted to show you kind of what I was talking about a little bit here. So this is included in this top monthly number here, but mortgage insurance. So this is the PMI, because mortgage insurance is usually required for down payments below 20%. So that's kind of what I was talking about. Here's the property taxes, the $377 a month. Your mortgage normally requires you to have homeowners insurance. So this is just an estimate. You can shop around for homeowners insurance and pay less than that. Now you have a number-ish about what kind of down payment works with your monthly abilities to pay that. So we're looking at, let's just say $12,000, okay? So you've got $12,000 for your down payment that you need to save, and then you're thinking, well, I'm going to plan that I'm going to pay half the closing costs. And let's just assume that the closing costs are going to be 10 grand to be nice. So I need to save $17,000. And that is not jump change, but you can totally do it and save that money and make this happen. You have a calculation about how much money it might take you to actually purchase a house, and we're saying that number is $17,000. And this is just a approximation, but you know, $17,000 is different from thinking, oh, I need $50,000 to buy a house. So you have a realistic number that you can totally strive for. So what are your next steps? So I'm not going to get into all the details about what kind of to do next, because I didn't want this video to be an hour long. I think your next step would be, now that you have a number, is find a tracker with debt-free charts and start saving your money. And I have some other videos about budgeting and how to manage your income so that you're hitting your goals. So now you have a very specific goal, and now you just need to strategize about how you're going to reach that. So go ahead and head over to my other videos, like the simple budgeting video or the budgeting on a variable income video, to learn more about how you can make the most of your income and save towards this dream. Once you get close to your goal, it's time to talk to a mortgage broker and get qualified for a loan, and then you can take that evidence to your real estate agent, and then you can start actually looking at real houses that you could really buy. Also, I just wanted to note that after all of this and thinking through all of this and how much it would be and what this would be like, it is perfectly okay to decide that now is not the time for you to buy a house. If this is your dream, absolutely go for it. But if you're like, I'm not sure I want to replace a microwave myself or even pay someone to do that, that's okay. So I just wanted to make sure that was clear, that, home ownership is not for everyone, and I understand that, and that's perfectly okay. Let me know down in the comments what your house buying goals are for this year, or if you have any questions about the video. I would love to talk to you down in the comments. As always, do me a big favor, like this video and subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss the next upload. Bye for now.